Good morning and welcome to Impact. I'm Steph Seidel. I'm actually filling in for Russell today. He is on a wonderful trip to Cambodia. He's going to build some houses there and have a wonderful time, so we wish him safe travels and can't wait to hear him when he comes back and hear about his stories, really. But this morning, I'm Steph and I'm here with Matt, the Vice Principal for the Performing Arts. Vice Principal for the Arts.
That works.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah. Why do you say what it's supposed to be?
Vice Principal of Arts Programming.
Arts Programming. See, you know what? I wrote it down in cursive, and so the programming word turned into performing, and I was a little bit confused.
That works.
But you know what? It's live radio, so that's what happens. I'm also here with Avery, grade 12 student at Holy Trinity.
Yes.
Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
You are welcome. Now, we have a big show coming up. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell us what the show is?
Well, it's essentially all about Shrek's life, and it follows basically the same events of the first Shrek movie, except it's in musical form. So it has a little bit more insight into Shrek's background, a little more insight into Fiona's background, and I think the music actually really helps develop the relationship and the relationship with all the other characters really well. And it's pretty fun.
And who are you in the mix?
I am Fiona.
Oh, that's fun. That's very exciting. So we're talking about arts programming. How did we come about with Shrek and what happened there?
You know, when we choose the production that we're going to do at Trinity, every year we do a full-scale musical. So for the past, this is our 7th year in operation, which is really hard to believe. But we always pick something that we hope the community will respond to, but also something that will present some inspiration, some challenge for our students. And for the main stage musical too, we always try to pick something that we can put a decent number of students in.
Oh, smart.
Because we have this unique 7 to 12 model, we're able to put lots of middle school students into our main stage productions, and then we have that mentorship opportunity with our high school students. And Shrek has allowed us to be able to do that.
Wow.
Because it has permitted such a large cast.
And so what are the different parts? Is there a chorus or what makes it such a large cast?
Most people actually have quite a few roles.
Cool.
I know a lot of our middle school kids, they are so enthusiastic about this production that they're taking on 5-6 roles of ensemble. But we have our main cast, Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, those guys. And then we have our fairy tale creatures. So we have people like Pinocchio, Gingy, three bears. We have the 3 little pigs. We have all of our fairy tale casts, and they show up quite a bit. Their storyline is a little bit different than the movie, but I think it makes for a really interesting show. And I think having so many middle school kids is really great for our show, and it gives us, especially our grads in this theater academy, we get a big chance to mentor the little kids and make sure they follow our footsteps and keep the theater alive in Trinity.
So to pick up on what Avery mentioned there about our theater academy, this is a new program that we've introduced at Holy Trinity this year. So we have a theater academy for our high school students.
I love that. It sounds like it's in a movie.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, right? But what's cool is we've now kind of brought this value-added arts programming into our school day. So our students who are in the production in high school are actually taking theater academy full year. They're with us 90 minutes a day, working in our state-of-the-art theater with Nancy Lawson, who is a brilliant fine arts leader in our community. And what's really neat is as soon as we're done with Shrek on December 9th, then our Theater Academy students begin working on preparing their one-acts. So then we're having a Holy Trinity one-act play festival that's coming up in our second semester as well. So
and they are student-directed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, student-directed, student-managed, student-acted.
And are they're written, do you get to choose?
We get to choose. It's a little ambitious if you want to write one.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but usually we just choose one and have fun with it. And Miss Lawson usually just gives us the go-ahead and backs us on everything, and it's really fun. You go and compete for it, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, as a grade 12 student, you're talking about mentoring. What would you say is your favorite part with working with students?
I think seeing the beginning and the end result. I think going in, nobody really knows what they're expecting. Nobody really knows what it's going to be like. And then they finally find a little tiny pathway, and then you go and you rewatch the scenes at the very, very end, and you can just see how far they've come, and that you say something, you say, oh, can you do this? And they pick up on it right away, and they pull it together, and they just rock their roles, regardless of what they're given.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, one of the things you said that they play many different roles. Is it exhilarating running back there and having to change really fast, or what's it like that?
It's quite stressful, but in the end, it really is. It's a lot of fun. There's no really word to explain it. You're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But even as much as you might be under stress in that moment, it's so much fun just to run back on stage and be a different person, and you can switch between different people like that. And it's just, there's no word to describe it.
I love it.
And what's particularly unique about this musical is we have over 58 students in the cast, and that's a big undertaking for us relative to the last couple of years. So I'm excited from my perspective to walk backstage on opening night and see the mayhem, because that's half the fun.
Yeah.
And for our middle school students, particularly our grade 7s who are new to our building, and they've, to come, we are really blessed to have the Suncor Energy Center for Performing Arts attached to our school.
Yeah.
And so for these middle school students to be 11 and 12 years old and walking out onto a state-of-the-art modern stage that really feels like ours, that's really cool.
That is really cool. Now, I went to high school, and my high school actually was attached to a theater as well. And when I was in grade 11, got to take drama, which was great. But my favorite place in the whole theater was the costume bay. It was like a whole nother experience. You go downstairs under the stage somewhere, and you're just in rows and rows of clothes. Where do you get your costumes from?
So we don't go downstairs, we go upstairs.
Oh, okay.
So we have this, we call it our loading bay. We've got this giant space, and then they've built an upper part on it, and that's our mezzanine, as we call it. And if you go up there, it's kind of like a journey through time, right? When you walk through, there's kind of 7 years of history in a certain sense, because we see the costumes and the props that we've done from previous shows. And one thing that Miss Lawson is brilliant at doing is reusing and recycling and repurposing. So there's lots of stuff that we'll pull out and play with and change for the show of the day. But for this particular show, we've also enlisted some outside help, because the show has such a large cast, and there's some really interesting costuming that's required for such a production. So we've actually contracted out. So we've got a company who is renting us some costumes. So we're kind of doing a hodgepodge of rented costumes and stuff that we've used from the past.
Wow, that is so exciting. I want to talk some more about the costumes in just a few minutes, but we're going to take a break. Right now we're talking about Shrek the Musical with Avery and Matt. And just quickly, when is it?
It runs on December 8th and 9th, 7 p.m. on the 8th and the 9th, with a 2 p.m. matinee on the 9th as well, and tickets are $10.
Perfect. All right, we're going to hear more about that. You definitely don't want to miss this show. This is Impact. I'm Steph, filling in for Russell Thomas on 91.1 The Bridge. Well, good morning. Unfortunately, Russell Thomas is not here today, so you have me. I'm Steph, and this is 91.1 The Bridge. I'm here with Matt and Avery, both from Holy Trinity. Matt is the Vice Principal of Arts Programming, and Avery is a grade 12 student. And we're chatting about the performing arts, and particularly the musical that they have coming up soon, which is Shrek the Musical. It sounds like a lot of fun. I remember seeing Shrek the movie when I was in high school and thinking, I'm not really a cartoon person. And when I saw it, it was like the first movie that I was like, what on earth? This is for kids, but it's also for older kids. Like it's just, it hits all the audiences in such a different way. It's such a cool program. Now, Fiona is who you're playing, Avery.
Yes.
In the movie, she's a person and an ogre all in one role. Can we talk about that? What happens?
Let's just say there's a body double.
Oh, okay.
And we're playing with some special effects to see how we're gonna do this. But I know the writers, on Broadway, they do use a body double. But the writers for this production gave me one scene to change into an ogre in between times, and then change back. So we're playing with some special effects, and my sister, who's going to be my body double. But yeah, we're not quite sure how the logistics are going to go, but we know we're going to pull it off.
Awesome. Yeah, I've definitely been wondering about how you're going to wash your green face off. I saw The Wizard of Oz one time, and Dorothy had a really bad cold, and so somebody had to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and she had to act, and so it was such a cool moment in the theater, because Dorothy was my friend and I knew that she wasn't singing, but it's so neat what you can do.
Yeah.
And special effects and things that make it like, no, that does look like Dorothy singing, even though I knew she wasn't. Super cool. So let's talk more about these costumes. Do you have a green dress?
I don't have a green dress built for right now. It's on its way.
Okay.
We actually have a mum from our theater academy building my dress from scratch.
Wow.
Miss Lawson went to Edmonton, picked up some princess fabric, and let her have artistic liberty. So I have been trying pieces on, piece by piece, sleeve by sleeve, but it's almost done. It's almost done. Not quite have it yet, but it's almost done, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful dress.
I love how neat the theater is, and that you get to create things from scratch, and you get to wear a dress made exactly just for you. That is such a cool aspect of the theater that, a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford a dress made specifically for them for a gala or something, but to get to wear a dress and act it on stage and be out there, it really transforms you.
Yeah, it does.
Now tell me about growing up. Both of you are in the arts. How'd you get there?
I started from a pretty young age, actually. I remember my brother, actually, who also is an administrator in Fort McMurray Catholic Schools. He was really into theater when he was young. So I just kind of followed in his footsteps and grew up in a small coastal town in Nova Scotia. And our summers, what we did was summer theater. So I've been involved in summer community theater since I was 12 or 13 years old, and then I went on to do some more stuff back home. And then when I moved to Fort McMurray, I started working at Father Mercurdy and heard that they were opening a school for the performing arts, and I thought, well, I've come to the right place. So I have this unique opportunity to do both of my passions, which is teaching and fine arts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I started way back in grade 1 when my choir teacher came to me and was like, "You have a great voice. I want you to join the choir," which is a big compliment because they don't let anybody into that choir. So from there, my music teachers had just fostered my love of music and my love of being on the stage. And eventually I started partaking in our local music festival here, and I would compete every single year, and I would go off to provincial sometimes, or I would stay here and let somebody else go, and it just kind of grew and grew, and I was in every single like Christmas musical, and I loved being on the stage, and I loved just talking. So then eventually I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I auditioned for Mulan, which is a previous production we've done at Trinity. And I got into that, and that was fun. So then I pushed myself more, and I auditioned for a couple of the Keanu plays. So I was in Into the Woods, and I was in Footloose last year.
Yes, I saw you. You were amazing.
Yeah. And ever since, I've always been in love with music, and I've taken band and choir. And this year, I just thought I'll give theater more of my attention because I think I'm going to go into it, and I want to pursue it for the rest of my life. So
awesome.
I thought I'd give theater a try, and now we're here. I'm playing Fiona.
That is so cool, and I love that a teacher did that for you and just saying, you have a beautiful voice, let's foster that.
Yeah.
So awesome. Do you have any examples of working with students who you've really kind of seen the diamond in the rough?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about theater is we often, sometimes we have those students who might feel like they're on the periphery or they don't know what their thing is. And us arts people, the adults of the arts, when we're walking through the hallways, we're trying to grab those students because we want them to find their passion.
Yeah.
And the world of fine arts and particularly theater, you learn so many skills and capacities and competencies that serve you in your whole life, right? Yeah. So to come together with like-minded peers and be able to see a product at the end, it's really fascinating. So I've worked with some phenomenal students in the past where really theater has changed their life. And, you know, they might have been going down the wrong path and we got them into a show and they learned what it means to be dedicated to something and working with a group of people who have a lot of passion and then see that come to fruition. It's really cool.
And one of the things I've really noticed as I grew up, I wasn't into theater, but my friends that were, I was always really jealous because it seemed like they had a family outside of their friend group that, I mean, all over the city, these different students were coming together and making something amazing that suddenly they were doing cast parties and, we were in Beauty and the Beast together 10 years ago and we're still having coffee together now. Like it's such a cool, it puts you in a really different place to meet different people who are working towards this goal.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, we're a bit of a smaller community, and it's been my experience that community theater in smaller communities is something that it's really a beautiful experience, right? Because everybody comes together, everybody knows it's happening, and it's just something that people rally behind.
Yeah.
Right? We wait for the yearly, it's like me with the Keanu shows, right? I wait for my opportunity. I know they're going to do a show in the fall, a show in the spring, and it's part of what I look forward to.
Part of what you do, for sure. We're going to hear more about Shrek the Musical and from Avery and Mat. Shrek the Musical, December
8th and 9th.
7 o'clock on both nights and 2 o'clock on the 9th as well. Stick around. More of Impact is coming up. Oh, but it is not Russell Thomas. It's Steph Seidel. Good morning. I'm filling in for Russell, who is in Cambodia, and we hope that he's having safe travels and a wonderful time. I'm here with Avery and Mat, and they are chatting with me about Shrek the Musical. Now, I have a question because I've seen Shrek the movie. Donkey, does he have a funny accent, or is he putting his own spin on it?
We actually have a girl playing our donkey.
Whoa, cool. Okay.
Yeah, her name is Faith, and she's actually in middle school, so very big role, and she's handling it perfectly. But I think she's putting, it's hard to say because the donkey that we all know and love from the actual movie, there's no way you can match that. And so you see what's happening on Broadway, and it comes close. But at the same time, you feel like sometimes you lose that personal connection because you don't feel like it's a person and you feel like it's an animal. But Faith does a really good job of putting her own little spin on it and putting that sass and putting whatever she wants into it and making sure every single thing she does is concise. And it's beautiful to watch. It makes Donkey so lovable and so understandable, and it's great to see.
Cool. Now tell me about the selection process. So you're Fiona and Faith is Donkey.
Yes.
How did you get these roles? What happened?
Well, Miss Lawson basically knows all of us already. So it's pretty much the same crew. The only one she ever has to worry about is like 7 and 8s and 9s because they're pretty on her new radar. But she knows a lot of us pretty well. And so we all basically said, okay, who would like to try out for this? And then people would say, I'm going to try out for this and whatever. And she would pull us aside, and then she would let us sing whatever we wanted. It could be Happy Birthday, it could be Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it could be Whitney Houston, it could be whatever you wanted. And then she would either give you an option of dry read from a script, or you could prepare something. And then from there, she just had her own little selection process, and she wrote all our names on a board, and we came in the next class, and all of our roles were chosen.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Now tell me about the musical side of things. Both of you are musical. How did you get that way, and how does it work in the theater?
Ooh. So in the theater, it's a little rough sometimes because sometimes you have a pit band, sometimes you have a recording, and both experiences are so tailored that it makes it hard to do a switch. So last year for Charlie Brown that we did, we had a pit band. So that required so much more musical rehearsal because we had, I want to say 15 musicians hiding in the curtains and playing our songs. So we had to have every single thing perfect. Whereas this year we don't have a pit band. We have recordings that have been sent to us with all the instrumentals, and we just sing over top of them. So it does create a challenge more for our stage manager and our ASMs who call all of those cues. because they have to call every individual one. And if we need a pause in a song, we have to cut the song and then have another sound cue. Or if we have a sound effect, those have to get cued. And if we have all these little tiny things, like we have a lot of sound cues. So I'm just really grateful for the sound techs we have and all those people who are going to call it, because I find doing a production with not a pit band and doing sound is so difficult. Everything has to be perfect or else everybody is off. So
and what's cool about it is that they do have this learning experience as students, right? Because the reality is the students who go on to perform in theater beyond school will have the same opportunities where sometimes you're going to have a pit band, sometimes you're not. So they get this learning experience, and it is indeed a challenge. We actually have this really cool technology that came with the show called Orchestries. And it allows Mrs. Lawson, who's the director and the musical director, she can change the tempo of the song on a computer. So if the kids are singing too slow, she can slow it down. She can speed it up. She can change the key. It's this really neat way.
That is so cool.
So it's more than karaoke. It's more polished, and we've got a bit more control over it. So we've not done this before, so I'm really looking forward to the final product.
We're really tailoring it to what our needs are and how we want to put our own little spin on the production.
That's really cool. Now tell me about the timeline. When did you start the initial, we're going to have Shrek, and how'd you get to where you are now?
So this is a first for us this year to do our main stage musical in December. So usually we will do our main stage musical in May, like most places. At the end of the school year, we have the whole year to prepare for it, etc. But this year we thought, May is a crazy month for people who are in school. There's lots going on. There's tournaments, there's awards, there's exams, there's all this stuff. So we thought, let's try it in December. So it's been a bit of a crazy ride. Miss Lawson picked the show at the end of May, and she and I did all that administrative stuff throughout the summer to get the rights and the scripts and whatever, and they hit the ground running. First day back, really.
Yeah, wow.
And that's the beauty of the Theater Academy, is that we've dedicated this time. So class 1, day 1, we began.
That is amazing. And now the show is December 8th and 9th, correct? So that's a Friday night and a Saturday night. So it's like perfect date night, perfect family night.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this show. It's like the movie in that it is fun for the whole family, right? So we run it at 7 o'clock so that we hope that we can get some families out to it. And for the younger ones where that's even too late, we've got the 2 o'clock matinee on December 9th. So we're really excited. We're really looking forward to expanding from our school family to the community. We're hoping the community gets behind this show, and that maybe we have some people come to check out shows at Trinity who've not come before.
Definitely. And it's only $10 a person, right? And then how long does the show last?
It's about 2 hours, we're hoping.
2.5. Yeah, we're trying to get down to 2.
Okay. Sweet. And then where can they get tickets?
So tickets online, absolutely. They like our Facebook page, so Holy Trinity Catholic High School for McMurray, and there's a link on our Facebook page directly to the online purchasing. You can hop onto our website, or we can do it old school, and you can call our box office or pop by 12 to 4:30 every day and pick them up that way.
Awesome. One more question for you. If somebody's on the fence about coming, what is the driving force to say you gotta?
If they're older, it has all the same one-liners, all the same jokes as the movie. If they're younger, you see princesses, you see dragons. It's pretty cool. If you're worried about it being a little late, it's worth it. It's such a fun thing, and it has something for everyone. It's such a family show, but at the same time, I almost want to say it's a little more adult geared because of all the jokes, but I would come see it. You don't want to miss it. Everyone's going to be raving about it. You already know. So I wouldn't miss the chance to come see it.
And we truly want to keep the arts alive in the Wood Buffalo region, and this is an opportunity to get behind a project that has 55 of our young up-and-coming artists. So my message is, let's get behind the show and come check out the talents, because, sometimes people think that maybe we don't have a ton of talent here, but holy crap.
Yeah, we do.
We're really blessed to have awesome young talent.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, my guests this morning have been Mat Campbell, who is the vice principal for arts programming, and Avery, who's Fiona in Shrek the Musical, both from Holy Trinity. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
You're welcome. This is Impact. It's a group effort of Shaw TV, Fort McMurray, Fuse Social, The United Way, and 91.1 The Bridge.